Hello and welcome to the second race of the European Porsche Cup hosted by GRL. We are in the 17th season, I believe, and it's the second race here today. Now we are currently looking at Daniel Thomas, one of the top contenders in last week's race. And he is going out for some practice in the wet, as we will have a really wet track here today, which will make it more difficult for the drivers and hopefully produce some interesting racing. We are at Fuji today, which is a very interesting track located in Asia. And tonight we will have a different format to last week, as we'll have a 10-minute heat first, Afterwards we'll have a 15-minute heat, with the top 4 having a reverse grid. For some reason there is no sound. Okay, yeah. Okay, I've located the issue. Okay, now with you having sound, let's continue. So, the second race today will be the 15-minute heat with the top 4 being reversed. And then to end the night we'll have a 20-minute third heat with the top 8 being reversed. I personally enjoy these shorter heat races a lot more, as there, at least for me, there's a lot more to commentate on. But the drivers might enjoy the other thing a bit more, as you have a bit more time and a bit more chances to get past the other drivers. Now, this race is gonna be very interesting for the championship, because today there is still a lot on the table. Only one race has been completed in the championship, and there is a lot on the table. Daniel Thomas, I think, was a top contender in last week's race, and I will see if I can so I'll look up the standings and hopefully tell you some more soon. Yeah. Okay, so there we are. So Daniel Thomas, actually the first guy currently. So currently championship leader with 73 points from last week's race at Virginia. And right behind him will be Sander Traillet. And Daniel Thomas here today with the first lap time of the night, a 2:01.0. Not the fastest times you'll see on Fuji, but that is largely due to the rain. Oh, but the competition already looking a bit faster than Daniel Thomas right now. And will be interesting to see if Daniel Thomas can hold up this performance he has had last week, or if the rain proves too much of a challenge for him. It did look like he was struggling a bit with traction. It could be that he was out on the wrong tires, of course. But there are no judgments to be made yet about the pace of these guys. Now, currently in the lead, John Bailiff. Now, John Bailiff, I believe he raced last week as well. And I don't know if he's a pro or an amateur driver. At least I don't see him here marked in the standings at the moment, but we'll see. Now, who we are looking at right now then is Blomart. Already raced last season in the last 2 races, and one of the actually European contenders, as are most, but there are some competitors, for example from the USA, for example Joshua Wild, who is not on the server yet, so we do hope he will be joining later on. Oh, I've just spotted him there. That's John Bailiff, and he's in the pro category, so he has earned his top spot last week, though he has already lost it again. And Dennis Blomart going around, just losing the traction of that car, and but he will continue. Now here we are looking at the gap that the driver has have to the fastest time, which is currently set by Peter Sigda, who is in the pro category. Now there is a lot open here, because from P1 to P5, I believe, there are only 11 points separating them. And I won't talk about the point system, but I think that in one weekend, the leading guy, Daniel Thomas, has scored 73 points, and the gap between P1 and P5 is only 11 points. Should tell you how close this championship still is in these beginning stages. Now, last season was really interesting, especially in the Amateurs Championship, as the winner was decided in the last race, and there were 4 guys who all had a chance to get it. So let's hope we'll get a similar action again this season. Now it is still pretty hot in Europe, and I think drivers like Dennis Blumert right here will probably be struggling with that if they don't have any AC. Me personally, I'm also sitting at around 32 degrees Celsius in my room, so it is not a pleasure to drive right now. But still, lots of people have already shown up, with I think 15 drivers or something like that already. Oh! I mean, that is a very heavy spin from Dennis Blomart. That just seems to have touched a puddle there and lost traction. It's very unfortunate, but he will be going out again. And of course he's in luck, because this is not the race. This is not the race. This is not the quali. So what he does now doesn't have any impact on his points in the end. Or he can still get used to the rain, and doesn't have too much pressure on him right now. But current leading car, Daniel Thomas, in the number 60 Porsche Cup car. Now I have heard from some of the drivers that that at least last week they were also sitting at a comfortable 32 degrees Celsius in... Oh, I was looking away there for a second. Let's see if we can have a replay of that, and it just looks like went a bit wide there on the curb, and the wet track just pulled him off to the side. But now he's on the way again. Oh, or not. He's gone back to the pits, and now Peter Sigda has taken the lead, or has currently the fastest time. So still very much early stages here, with everyone looking for the best lines still, and we are seeing a lot of ideal line usage. Now iRacing does have a very complex system for the rain, so I would have expected some more people to use a wet line, so going a bit off the ideal line to get some more grip on the parts that haven't been driven in as much. But the general consensus seems to be that the ideal line is just faster, And I can understand it, especially in these twisty turns right here. This is sector 3, up the hill, through these very difficult corners. We see him missing an apex there, Peter Sigter, but it could also be because he is taking a wet line, at least here. Yeah, I do understand why they would be using a dry line there. But it will be interesting if someone who's using a wet line could get a competitive advantage in this race. Now, John Bailiff with a 147.7. Currently fastest guy out there. 2/10 faster than Peter Sigter, who we've just seen struggling in the rain. And he's also an ideal line user. Or a racing line, or a dry line user, you could say. Bartosz Klusiewicz, a driver with a very difficult to pronounce name, and the number 700 here on the grid, already raced last season. And this season he is here again. I think he's in the... I would have thought he was in the amateurs class. I don't know if he raced last weekend. I can't seem to find him right now here in the standings. But yeah, he is now in 5th with a 1.5 second gap to John Bailiff. And he is also using the dry line. So it does seem like nobody's using the wet line. But I can understand these turns are very technical here at Fuji. And especially as we're seeing now, I think the rain has almost completely stopped. We can go on board with one of the drivers in just a second. Oh, it is still raining pretty heavily. Yeah, struggling really heavily with the grip here on the exits. It's just a combination of understeer and oversteer you get here. You have to try to manage it to get some fast lap times in. Now John Bailiff, still fastest guy out there, but Peter Sigter has caught up and about 1.5 tenths. So he is now a lot closer to the time John Bailiff has set. And we'll see how this continues. Now we're currently at 17 drivers for the 3 races here in this evening. Let's see if there are more to join now. 20 minutes of practice have already passed. And 40 to go until we get to qualifying, which is very obviously the more interesting part of today's race. So not long to go at all. We'll also see if the skill of these drivers reflects also in the wet, if they can keep their positions up in the wet, or if we might see some amateur drivers climbing the ranks just because they're a bit better in wet driving. It will be very interesting to see. This could shake up the whole championship. But yeah. Now this format obviously very exciting as everyone has the same car. So we don't have to deal with any bad BOP that we might know from other events. It's just that everyone has the same car, same conditions, and in most cases that does produce the best racing, at least in my opinion. And now another driver doing his laps right now is Eugene Schmidt, who I think also raced last weekend. I would have thought he was in the standings already, but doesn't seem like it. But yeah, the Amateurs Championship not as interesting. 12 points between first and third. But there are still a bunch of races to go. I think it is a full calendar here, so after this one, 10 more races to decide the champion. Oh, and that is a huge spin by Eugene Schmidt. Just not dealing with those wet conditions very well there, and then loses the rear. I think we're going to see that a lot in today's race. Now the iRacing rain, of course, it is notorious for being difficult. So we'll see how the drivers handle that. Now, who is that behind? It's number 133, I think. So that will be Martin Sietsma, who has set the full fastest time at the moment. So it is understandable that he will be trying to get past Eugene Schmidt as quick as possible. Fastest lap about half a second quicker. Or about 7/10 even. So there is definitely a pace difference between these two drivers. And that is of course why this league has a Pro and an AM category. To have two different championships here is a very nice thing. Or at least I think so. But racing is getting ever closer. Only 35 minutes left of practice and then we'll get into the racing action. Now, if you do want to join the league yourself, there should be a link to the Discord down below, or you could look up GRL in the iRacing League tab, and I think you will find info about how to join both ways. And Peter Sigter has retaken first place with a 1:47.17, so times are getting quicker. And it is definitely getting more interesting. Now on the start-finish straight we've seen a lot of cars driving in line there. That could be because most people are out at the moment, doing their laps. And of course the start finish rate on Fuji is especially long. But yeah, this will be Peter Sigter doing his best to practice for the qualifying ahead. He is currently 6th in the championship, but he is only 20 points behind the current leader Daniel Thomas, who we've seen struggle a bit here, and who currently has the fastest lap time of a currently has a where is he? Here it's a 1.48.02 as his fastest lap time. So he's not looking too quick this weekend. This could mean that drivers like Peter Sigter, who we are seeing on screen here battling with the number 175, which will be Christopher Smith, who seems to be his teammate. Now, he could be taking first place in the championship this evening, but there is strong competition. John Bailiff, of course, also a very, very quick driver, and he is right behind in the right behind Peter Sigter in the championship, only 7 points behind. Now that is a huge gap to the leader Daniel Thomas, of course, but not a huge one to Peter Sigter. So it will be interesting. Now another contender for the Pro Championship is Sander Drachier. But I don't know if he is on the server currently, or if he will be racing this evening even, because it doesn't seem like it at the moment. But there is still half an hour left for him to join. Now the two sister cars side by side down the main straight, and Peter Sigter will be going into the pits. Oh, and struggling a lot there. So even the pit entry seems to be dangerous territory. Seems to be very wet there. Oh, and a new competitor has arrived with a best time of 1:48.44. And it will be Tom Carter, currently 7th from the United Kingdom, and with this beautiful GRL branded livery here. He will be racing under the number 594, and if I'm not mistaken, he will be involved in the Amateurs Championship. Yeah, he will. He is currently at 49 points compared to the first car in his division. He's only 12 points behind. So this could be very interesting. Now Christopher Smith, I think currently on 11th, so seems to be struggling a bit more with the rain. This could also be because of the difference of setup. What I mean by that is that one of them is running a quali setup and the other one a race setup for this practice. But I think there could be a real chance for the change of lead here in the championship for the amateurs trophy here in the European Porsche Cup. Now using a lot of curb there, Tom Carter, which is a dangerous game, as the curbs do draw in a lot of water. And that water is not going anywhere, and that could lead to aquaplaning, as we've seen right there as well. Now, of course, it does gain you some time going over these curbs, as it does make the track wider. But drivers will have to decide if it's worth the risk of losing traction, maybe even going into the wall. I think Tom Carter here was pretty close to that. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see about a lot of these things that I'm talking about right now. So now half an hour of practice left. And the fastest times are looking a bit more spread than last weekend. Now only the top 5 are in a 1 second window. With... oh no, it's the top 6 now, as... who is that? That is Julian Cassius with a time of 1:48.02, it seems. Or not 02, I think. Oh no, 0.02. That is right. Now Tom Carter also moving up here with a 1:47.8. So everyone's moving up the ranks here a bit. The field is getting closer in terms of times. They're just making everything interesting. And we are excited for the race to start. Now, a lot of contenders from last week are missing, I believe. For example, Benjamin Kern, a German driver. So I would understand if he isn't racing because of the heat we currently have here. It is terrible. But Joshua Wills, the guy who probably has an AC, has shown up. He is, I think, the only American here on the server currently. I think also one of the only ones in the championship, as this championship was designed with the European time zones in mind. And that is the current leader of the championship in the amateurs category, Christopher Smith, with I think 62 points. Or yeah, no, 61 points. Still trying to do some faster laps, but he's only on P13 at the moment. So he's not looking too good right now. Now, okay, I do take that back. Christopher Smith now with a 1:47.91, up to P7, but he's still a bit behind Tom Carter. But he will run another lap, so that time might not stand so firmly as we've believed before. Now, for Tom Carter, who has been placed in the amateurs category, a top 5 finish would be phenomenal here today. But there is of course a lot of competition from the pro category drivers. And Janis Kunčík has now set the second fastest lap time at a time of 1:47.18. And the server is getting fuller with now 22 drivers on the grid. So the so the pit lane is filling up, and this could become very interesting. Need to hope for a good race here at Fuji. Now I think the European drivers especially have been hoping for rain this entire week. Now they'll at least get it in the sim. But I think a lot of these drivers will still struggle with hot room temperatures. So we'll see if that affects the driving of these guys. And now who is that? Peter Zichter now back on P1 with a 1:46.99. But not anymore. John Bailiff has taken that P1 away with a 1:46.9. And that is Christopher Smith, who I think has overtaken Tom Carter. But he has spun. So that lap will become invalid probably. And he will be slowing down. Now Joshua Wills with a 1:46.89. With the beautiful car number 911. And that beautiful Taco Bell livery. And it is getting more crowded. Now another driver has joined, Kerry Corcoran. So we now have two American drivers on the field. Ironically, one at the top and one at the bottom of the leaderboard. But that is also because Kerry Corcoran has not set a time yet, as he has just joined the server. And the track is getting a bit more empty as drivers are preparing for the start of the race. And there are only about 20 minutes left until the race begins. Now onto the start-finish break goes Joshua Wills. Will he be able to improve his lap time? Now a 1:46.8 is already really impressive, but John Bailiff and Peter Zichter, who will be very close competition for him, have already set times within 1/10 of him. And that time will be a 1:47.97, so not improving on his previous lap time. 1 second slower just about. And that will leave him vulnerable as John Bailiff and Peter Zichter are going full pace, full push towards the start finish line to set a faster lap than him. Now Daniel Thomas with a time of 1:47.1, climbing his way a bit back up the order, now on P4. Now he was struggling in the rain before, but now seems to have found some footing and is looking a bit more competitive now, with him only 2.5 tenths behind Joshua Wills. Joshua Wills, at the moment at least, ironically, American is handling those right corners the best at the moment. Or those right-hand turns. And John Bailiff cannot improve on his lap time now. That last time was a 1:47.3, which is a bit closer to his fastest personal lap time as the other guys' last lap times to theirs. So yeah, Joshua Wills' last lap time a 1:48.0, which is of course nowhere near his 1:46.8. But we do know that now Dennis Blumert has gotten a black flag somehow, and he will immediately lose it, as you can just reset to the pits in practice at least. In quali, I don't know how it is handling qualing, but at least in the race it will be a bit more difficult. Now that's a 1:47.6 for John Bailiff, the British driver, not getting close to the time that Joshua Wills has set before. So we'll see if anyone can beat that time before those 17 minutes run out and qualifying starts. Now Joshua Wills also not close to his personal best with a 1:47.9, which would currently put him around, what is that, 12 about. So qualifying will be very interesting. The top 5 currently only 3/10 apart. And then the pace does drop off a little bit, but we do have a pocket again from P9 to P12, with them only being about 2/10 separated from each other. So there is a lot going on now from 9 to 12. I think that's hugely, that should be hugely the amateur class drivers. So it is also very crowded at the top of that class. And Owen Stitchbury with a 1:47.1. Now he was also looking very competitive last race, but I think he did have some issues in the second heat race, and had to fight his way back up the order. Yes. But this is the second chance. This is the chance to advance his position in the championship, as he is currently 5th actually, so still a good chance to catch up to the leader. Now he is just behind Daniel Thomas with about 0.3 tenths between them. And Daniel Thomas is leading this championship, so he will have to do some pushing if he wants to take that P1 in the championship away from Daniel Thomas. Now 45 minutes of practice have passed, Now only 15 minutes left of practice. So quali and race are approaching. And I think the stress levels of these drivers are also increasing. So we will see how qualifying turns out in just a moment. In these conditions it is extra important to not make as many mistakes. It's very important to keep your cool, as one mistake could send you off into the barriers at a much faster rate than normally. Now, the rain is a very interesting aspect in this race, as we are looking at Janis Kunčík. Will probably land himself in the pro category. His fastest time is currently a 1:47.18. So only 3/10 behind the guy in first. That will be a 1:47.3 for Janis Kunčík. Now with his fastest time being a 1:47.18, he will not be improving. But it does seem like he can hold that pace consistently. Those low 1:47s will be very important in the race for him. The top guys not improving as much anymore as they were before, as the clock is ticking down towards qualifying. So this might just be the order we are starting with. Now 23 drivers on the grid right now, which is a pretty big field. So this could be very, very interesting. Now well, let's see what John Bailiff is up to. Oh, he's going down towards that hard right-hander. A very hard braking zone. And most drivers are using that curb there, even though it's really wet. So the loss of traction seems to be offset by the amount of time gained by taking that apex. And we are seeing a very aggressive John Bailiff taking most of the apexes here. So no rain line in sight, and he's still the second fastest driver here. He will be moving towards the line, and he will be setting a time of 1:47.9, similar to Peter Sigter, who is a bit in front of him. At least in track position, he's a little bit behind him in terms of times. Now only 10 minutes remain until qualifying starts. And do keep this leaderboard in mind, because it could very well dictate how the race goes. And we are missing some key competitors, I think. Especially Benjamin Kern, a German driver who was very important for last race, and also I think Sander Drahier still hasn't shown up, so we'll have to do this race without him, and he will probably lose his second position in the championship. Now, a lot of the championship is also decided through attendance, of course. That just comes with the calendar having 12 races. And such high points being given for even just participating. Or if you finish at all, you're probably going to get some points already from that. Oh, and some tire warming strategy, I believe we're seeing here from John Bailiff. So tires don't really seem to be keeping warm. Or he just wanted to end his quali run, his practice run. That could have also been it. But Joshua Wills currently in the Taco Bell livery also going into the pits. You can see the car very unstable on entry there. So the pit lane, if you do have to go to the pit lane, it could also be the end of your race. But I think if you're going to the pit lane, you're already not doing too well. So now he will be changing tires, and he will probably also be getting some fuel. So we'll see if he will be out again to start some faster laps soon. Now we're looking at Daniel Thomas, who is on an outlap right now, but he could very well close that gap to P1 very, very soon. Now I think he was the fastest driver in the last race, and I don't want to put too much pressure onto him, but he is looking really good here as well. Now of course the rain a big aspect here. Some people handle the rain better and some worse. So your race pace, even in the tri, doesn't have much to say about your pace in the rain. But it could still give some hints, of course, with Daniel Thomas being one of the fastest guys already out here. That was looking very unstable there. The rear of Daniel Thomas getting a bit loose. And that is Joshua Wills. But we'll be taking a look at Tom Cutter, who is going into the pits right now. So we'll be going over to Dennis Blomert, who is currently drifting into the wall slowly, but painfully. And is now gone back to pits. Maybe Harold van Herde can give us some racing content here. So very wide line through that corner. That could be the wet line. Or maybe he just made a mistake. That could of course also be. Now, who was that just there? That was Owen Goodrum. in the number 218 car, who was now moved up to P14. And I think Julian Casius, it was, also moved up a bit, now up to P8, with only half a second to the leader. So qualifying could become very, very interesting. And he will be going back to the pits, so we will see if Owen Goodrum in this Red Bull livery is up to any more good pace. He seems to be looking for another good lap, and is now already in the final sector, final corner already. So we will see if he can get his position up even more, with only 3.5 minutes till qualifying starts. But it does not seem like he can improve his lap time at all. So we'll be patiently waiting last 3 minutes before qualifying starts now. I think we can open up this right here, which will show us the difference in sector times between two cars. Now, Freksmit not out right now. He is in the Amateurs Championship. So Owen Goodrun might be one to join that as well. Now through the third sector, he will be going onto the start finish straight. If that overlay is correct, he has been setting 2 green sectors, so 2 new fastest sectors for him personally. He will be crossing the line with a time of 1:47.29. Which will put him up to P8. Only 0.4 seconds behind Joshua Wills. Now the question is if he can finish the lap he's on right now, because there are only 1 minute and 10 seconds left. So he probably won't be able to. But we'll see. He is still going full push, so maybe he hasn't looked at the time yet. But there's only 1 minute left of practice. So it will get very interesting now. Now we start discussing the championship. Now it's about more than just having your name on top of a leaderboard. Now it's about the points you can gain in the championship. I would have to look up if there are points awarded for qualifying, but I'm too lazy to do that at the moment. I will just wait and see. Now if you want to look at the results of this championship and also the current standings, You should join the Discord server linked in the description. There you can see all the standings for, I think, most current series run. And now it is time for qualifying. We'll be doing a quick ad break before, and we'll be back in just a second. And we are back here for the qualifying. Now Dennis Blumert out on track at the moment. But we will be moving as far up the order as we can. And I think that will be John Bailiff, very fast guy, who is currently the first driver out on track. So no sector 1 for him, so this is still outlap for everyone. With only 1 minute and about 40 seconds having passed, I think it's reasonable to think that they are going onto their first lap now. And this will get very interesting. We will go on board with John Bailiff to watch what he will be doing this lap. Now we've seen a purple sector right there, but it got taken away instantly, and I think Daniel Thomas was right behind him. Going very wide there on the apex. I don't think that was planned. So already losing a bit of time. Now long straight, full throttle, and then semi-hard braking here in the rain. Just trying to get that car rotated, and he's getting his purple sectors taken away instantly, I think. Daniel Thomas was right behind him. So that could be the reason he's not getting any purple sectors yet. Daniel Thomas is getting them all. Now, of course, if you go out later here, you should, in theory, have an advantage, a tactical one, as when many people use the ideal line, it should get more dry. Now, we of course have the rain to counteract this, so we will see. We will see how everything plays together and what will and won't be the fastest line and everything. Now John Bailiff with a session best second sector. He will be going onto the start finish straight, and he will be setting the first lap time of the session. Now what might it be? And he's crossing the line now. He was doing a lot of fuel saving already. And that's a 149.3, which is currently the fastest out. I think everyone still doesn't have any warm tires. Well, we are not anywhere near the times we are looking at in practice. Now Joshua Wills with a 147.9, fastest out of the group at the moment at least. And he's 1.3 seconds ahead of John Bailiff, who's currently the second fastest driver. And we are still on board with him. We might switch to an outside rear to better see where exactly he's going, and if he's using all the apexes he can get, or if he is missing some. Now you do have a very limited amount of attempts here at this. I think it's still only 2 flying laps per driver. Now the question is, of course, if this is already considered a flying lap, what he's on right now, or if it's just, or what he did last lap, or if that was just another out lap. We will have to see. This might get a bit scrutineering. But John Bailiff now back onto the start-finish straight. And he does have a lot of green sectors, so we'll see if he can get a bit closer to the top. Yes, he can with a 148.3. But there is Peter Sekta and Daniel Thomas, who both get a better lap time, and now Ivan Stitchberry also 2P2 with a 147.5. So very close qualifying right here. He'll be going to Dennis Blomart right here, who is currently in P7. He is in the Amateurs Championship, and I think he is one of the fastest in there at the moment. But he is letting Bartosz Klusiewicz by. So he's not looking for any fast laps at the moment. But he will only have 3.5 minutes left, which is about enough for one more lap, I believe. As iRacing just stops your qualifying attempt if you go over time. And he does seem to have improved a lot compared to Bartosz Klusiewicz in the first sector. Or he, what am I saying? He has lost a lot to Bartosz Klusiewicz. Now onto the start finish straight. Dennis Blomart will probably not be getting a faster lap time here. But maybe Bartosz Klusiewicz can improve. No, they both cannot improve. But Harold van Heerde will be able to improve, and he will go up to P11. Now that was an interesting move by that black and purple car, or black and pink car. That could be one of our top competitors. I don't remember who exactly it was. Could be Christopher Smith or something. They were fighting for that top 1 spot, at least in practice. But that move didn't seem to affect anyone. So we're back onto racing, and Dennis Blomart, who seems to be able to finish a second lap, but it is not looking good. P10, and now he's gone ultra wide. I think that's the end of his qualifying. Yes, he has conceded with that and inspected pits. Now Daniel Thomas running in the last corner, and he will try to secure his pole position for the first race. Or he will be going into the pits. That could of course also be. Seems to have done his 2 out laps. Yeah, he is slowing down massively. So Owen, good run. Up P4, Julian Casius, currently P5. We don't have a comparison up on screen, but this could be very, very good. Now rounding the last corner and onto the start-finish straight. What position will he get? Or will he be giving up this one as well? He will be giving it up. And now qualifying is over. And we'll take a quick ad break and then we'll be right back with the racing action. And we are here at the grid for the first heat race at Fuji International Speedway for the European Porsche Cup Season 17 second race. Daniel Thomas in the lead, right behind him Iwan Stitchberry. Both guys from Wales. And right behind them on P3 Peter Sigter. Behind him Owen Goodrum. Then on P5 it will be Julian Casillas. On P6 Joshua Wills. On P7 Martin Sietsma. On P8 Janis Kunčík. P9 Bartosz Trujevic. P10 Dennis Blomart. And the lights are on. It's all red and it's green. It's green. Everyone getting a relatively good start it seems, and Daniel Thomas is out in front. Iwan Stitchberry has slotted him behind him, but there's Peter Sigter to consider, who has slotted into P2, gone past Iwan Stitchberry. Who's that? Joshua Wills. Joshua Wills. No, he's off the track. We saw that there was a little disagreement between two gentlemen. Got tagged on the rear and then just got pushed out. But now this is John Bailiff up to P5 from basically out of nowhere, I believe. Yes, he has started from P11 and has gotten up to P5. So incredible stuff here. Peter Sigter has taken P2 for now. But there is a hungry Iwan Stitchberry right behind him, who will not let him get away with that easily. But there are already gaps forming. I will change the timing to go to intervals so we can see a little bit better who is battling who. Now this is a very interesting just around John Bailiff. He should be in the pro category if I remember right. Yes, he is. Currently on P7. So there is a lot on the table for him. And the top two have already gotten a big gap between them. But Owen Goodrum, now followed by Iwan Stitchberry, who has fallen back to 4th position and is now retaken 3rd. Squeezing Owen Goodrum. They are down into turn 1 and now going to the outside, leaving him a bit more room, but Owen Goodrum will stay on the inside and Iwan Stitchberry will go very, very wide. Oh! And John Bailiff getting caught on the rear of Owen Goodrum and spinning himself out. That will be very unfortunate and maybe even something the stewards will be looking at. That's very unfortunate for John Bailiff, who is now out of the fight for the moment, and now Owen Goodrum with the wide line trying to get past Ivan Stitchbury. Again, a very exciting battle here, going right to the outside and staying in the middle of the track, so Ivan Stitchbury doesn't have any chance to get past. But Ivan Stitchbury is resilient and trying to get the best exit possible onto the next straight, but there is a lot of fighting going on between them. For example, between Janis Kunčik and Julian Garcias to the inside. Kunčik, and he will be getting past, but there's another driver going down the inside. That will be Martin Sietsma. It's a very interesting move there. That was very late, and now Julian Garcias and Janis Kunčik side by side. It through many corners, and now Julian Garcias has taken the position for now. He is on P5, but now Janis Kunčik to the inside, and Julian Garcias will be staying on the outside, and a very unstable Ivan Stitchbury there. Janis Kunčik is through. He is on P5 now, and he is in the slipstream of Ivan Stitchbury. That is a 4-car train we are looking at right now. And to the inside goes Janis Kunčik, and there will be a little touch. To the outside goes Julian Garcias, and it is free wide into the first corner. What incredible racing. Janis Kunčik will get the advantage, but he will also go a bit wide, and so yeah, Ivan Stitchbury is right back to the inside and will be retaking P4 for now, but Janis Kunčik still has a tiny bit of overlap and will be trying to leverage that to get past again. Now they're too wide again, and Julian Garcias still fighting with Martin Sietsma. Oh, and now both Janis Kunčik and Julian Garcias are through. Ivan Stitchbury has to concede to 6th position, and he has gone a bit wide there as well, so he's not looking as great for fighting today. And now Martin Sietsma will also try to get past onto the outside with him, and there is no more overlap between the two cars, it seems. That oh no, it is Ivan Stitchbury is still out front, and he will outbrake everyone and go straight on. Now that will have lost him a lot of position. Where is he right now? Okay, there he is. He is returning to the track. And Martin Sietsma, who has gotten past now. What a battle, ladies and gentlemen. It is incredible what we are seeing here today. Oh, my voice is not as excited as me, I believe. But it is what it is. So now Christopher Smith in that black and pink livery, chasing Dennis Blumhardt and Ivan Stitchbury. Maybe a slowdown penalty. And that will be him in P19 now. So not looking too well for him. Now we'll look a bit further up the order. And what do we see here? Simon Zaug battling with someone. So right in front of him, that will be Simon Gümer in the beautiful Rex livery. But there is some more battling going on behind Joao Gabriel Nandenwolf. But Joshua Wills, what is he doing on P16? And John Bailiff as well. And there's Frederik Smith right in the middle. The amateur driver now finding himself trapped between the two pro drivers. So it will be an uphill battle for him. Oh, and going to the inside is Sander Traillet. Oh, he has joined. So there's another contender for the fight in the pro category. Now Joshua Wills can build himself a bit of a gap, but Frederik Smith now under attack from John Bailiff. But he will be able to hold his position. Oh, and maybe going into the back of Joshua Wills. I didn't exactly catch that, as Ivan Stitchbury has gotten past Sander Traillet in that, I think it's a yellow livery car. And now it's Frederik Smith against 3 of the fastest drivers of the league. And he is holding up very well at the moment. It is a fight for P14. But everyone is giving everything. Now onto the start-finish straight. I think we will be looking at the front right now, because Owen Goodrum maybe trying to attack. But now I think this battle might be more interesting. We see a lot of weaving. John Bailiff and Ivan Stitchberry weaving a lot there. Oh, and to the inside goes John Bailiff. And he actually makes it stick. Incredible. Now he has gotten past Frederik Smith, the slower driver here in this situation. And he has gone right into the back of Joao Gabriel. Oh, and Daniel Thomas. Daniel Thomas is out or something, or he has had some kind of issue. So another top contender from Wales out of the contention for P1. And this fight will continue. Now this is a very, very interesting field we are looking at right now. Oh, what is that? I think that was Goodrum. In the back they're fighting. Oh, but what is happening here? There's a fight between Janis Kunčík and Julian. No, that's Martin Sietsma and Janis Kunčík. And Julian Kasi is also getting involved now alongside Martin Sietsma. And Martin Sietsma also trying to get past Janis Kunčík. Now to the inside. But he won't be able to hold that. And now the three are going down towards turn 1. And it is already the last lap. So everything goes from now on. This is the fight for P4. Oh no, it is the fight for P3. It is the fight for the podium for Daniel Thomas and Peter Sigter. Oh, so the overlay has had some kind of issue. But that is Martin Sietsma going down the inside of Janis Kunčík. And Julian Kasi is also trying a move, but everything seems to have retained its order. But there is an interesting fight going on between Dennis Bromat and Dennis Goodrum. Now, okay, so Kasi has gotten past Sietsma, it seems. So we might... I don't really know what to look at here. There's so much going on. But there's a battle between Joshua Wills, one of the fastest guys in the league, and Simon Zak, one of the contenders for the Amateurs Championship last year. And two are battling very hard. Simon Zak to the inside. Oh! What a drift! What a drift! Incredible racing here. Oh, but he will be going wide. Oh no, that is very unfortunate. And we will be going to the fastest driver right now, who will be running the last corner, and we will watch him as he finishes the first race of the second of this evening in P1. Congratulations to him, but that will mean that he will be starting from P4 in just a second. Now Ivan Stitchberry still trying to get a better position in the next race, trying his best. Really, he's getting alongside, but I don't think that will be enough. And no, it won't. Ivan Stitchberry now stuck in 15th for the second start. Now the rain, as I've already predicted, it is getting very difficult for many of the drivers, and this has led to this absolutely crazy racing we've been seeing right here. Incredible racing. We'll take a quick ad break, and then we'll be right back with the second race.
map, never smooth on the map, never smooth. What you gonna do when you at, who you with, you ain't really about that, don't you, don't you? Really on the road on the map, never slip, put your hands to your lips, don't you, don't you?
Oh, I seem to have waited a bit too long for everything. Oh, and now it's green flag out. I'm very sorry about that, but Martin Sietsma. Oh, the grading period is a bit shorter, but Martin Sietsma already fighting with Janis Kunčík for P1. Now the first 4 cars are in reverse order. You have to consider that. That's because that's why we are seeing Martin Sietsma and Janis Kunčík fighting for P1, but right behind them Peter Siegter, a very incredible driver, especially here in the rain, and he will be going to the outside of Martin Sietsma, and oh, there's the touch on the left rear quarter panel of Martin Sietsma, and Daniel Thomas also looking for a gap on the inside of Martin Sietsma. He's fighting a very hard battle right here, and he's down to 3rd, and in a second down to 4th. So he's only losing here, but Janis Kunčík already gaining a gap here, about 1 second ahead already, and and Martin Sietsma trying to get his 3rd position back. What incredible racing we're already witnessing here again. And now Christopher Smith has also joined the battle for P2. Martin Sietsma looking for every gap possible that Peter Siegter is offering up to him. Oh, and that is Daniel Thomas going down the inside. Will he be able to make it sick? Yes, and that will be P3 for Daniel Thomas, the winner of the last race. No, it will not. Martin Sietsma with the overshoot, with the better straight line speed. Now back alongside. Is he in 3rd? Is he in 4th? We don't know exactly. It seems like they're pretty much exactly the same. Now, in theory, Daniel Thomas should have the worst line through this corner. But because he's on the inside, he will be able to hold this position better. And Martin Sietsma will look to the inside for an opportunity to overtake. But there is none. Now, Tom Carter against Neil Killen. Tom Carter we've looked at during practice, but Neil Killen, I think one of the organizers of this league, fighting very hard with Tom Carter right now. They're alongside, and Tom Carter giving him a lot of room actually. And what is that? 3 pairs of 2 wide cars. Incredible racing here, and Neil Killen and Tom Carter still 2 wide, going down towards whatever turn it is. And honestly, it's incredible racing here. Still alongside, but Tom Carter has the advantage and just slots in right in front of Neil Killen. That could have gone a lot worse. And John Bailiff, we see him touching the rear quarter panel of Simon Gümer in that Rexy livery, in that green one. Oh, and John Bailiff struggling a lot here. And who is that? That it must be Simon Gümer, who has fucked up one of the corners and is now in hot waters as he has been overtaken by 2 cars already. Oh, that is very unfortunate. Just one little mistake and you've lost so much time. Owen Goodrum. I've seen him be too wide with someone else. But I must have seen it wrong. Here is the interesting battle. Oh no, that's not Simon Gümer, that's Bartosz Kluziewicz that I was talking about earlier. He's alongside Tom Carter. They're still 2 wide. Tom Carter seems to have the advantage down towards turn 2. And he will take the position. But up front there is an interesting battle brewing. Janis Kunčík against Peter Siegter. Now Janis Kunčík, I believe in qualifying at least he was the slower driver, but now he has the advantage. He has P1 already and doesn't need to retake it. Peter Siegter does have the slipstream though, but because of low visibility, I don't know if that's a pro or a con at the moment. Both going very wide into that first corner. That might just be the line there. I don't really know. I'm not as fast as these guys. Oh, everyone going full out, going full push here through these corners, and I think there's a very interesting battle brewing a bit further back around Neil Killen with Bartosz Klujevic right in front of him, and Eugene Schmidt and Joshua Wills fighting right behind him. Now Godrum against Dennis Blomart. Two incredible drivers going down towards turn 1 side by side. Godrum will leave Dennis Blomart a bit more space here as they go into the first braking zone, but now he will close that gap. Dennis Blomart ahead, but Dennis Blomart going wide. Owen Goodrum now back on P6, and Dennis Blomart now has to fear Julian Casius. He was right behind him and looking for an opportunity to get past. Oh, and that battle has already lifted, so we will be taking a look at Peter Sichter against Janis Kunčík. So Peter Sichter has gotten past, and there's Daniel Thomas on the horizon to worry about for Janis Kunčík, but at the moment Peter Sichter is still in reach. Peter Sichter would still be an option to get P1 back. Oh, and both going very wide for each for a different corner. And now it's into this twisty third sector with Peter Sichter leading the way, and he is gaining quite a lot, and now he's gone wide. Janis Kunčík trying to go to the inside, but that has cost him a lot of time, as now Daniel Thomas will be going down the inside. Will Janis Kunčík attempt the switchback? No, he will be trying to stay around, to stay on the outside, but that won't work well for him, as now he is in P3. He has fallen back a lot, but something very interesting is happening. Simon Gümer right on the tail of Harold van Herde. We've heard some Herde fans in the chat, I think, but so this won't be scenes that they like. But Simon Gümer down the inside of Harold van Herde, and he will get past. Harold van Herde having just the tiniest of overlap, and that won't be enough to hold that position. But right in front of them, what is happening? Dennis Blomart in a fight for P6 at the moment, going a bit wide there, and Julian Casius will try to make use of that, trying to go around the outside, but Dennis Blomart will squeeze him very, very wide. I would be a bit more careful with that. That could very easily end up as a case with the stewards, but now Julian Casius is back on P7, and Dennis Blomart has fallen back a bit. Last year Dennis Blomart categorized in Pro, this year in the amateur class, but he is showing us why he was in Pro last year. Some very strong pace, of course, at play here, but also some incredible driving down the inside. Will go Dennis Blomart. Oh, and he will overshoot the corner. John Bailiff now down the inside, and he is through. John Bailiff up to P8. Dennis Blomart will not let that sit. What is happening behind? Tom Carter, Bartosz Klujevic and Harold van Herde in a 3-wide battle for P10 or P11, that is. What an incredible race. What is happening at the front? 3 wide into turn 1. Daniel Thomas, Peter Sichter and Janis Kunčík, and Kunčík into turn 1 will be the leader again, but Peter Sichter will not let that sit. Will go down the inside, and Daniel Thomas is trying to follow him, but he will not have no luck with that. Janis Kunčík back to P2, and Peter Sichter back in front. Now Daniel Thomas trying to get around the outside of Janis Kunčík, but there is just no room for him. Now he's on the inside, but has to brake. Searching for every gap possible, and Peter Sigter and now being forced wide by Janis Kunček as he has gone to the inside. There was a little touch on the rear quarter panel of Peter Sigter. And it is now maybe side by side into that hard right-hander. No, it won't be. What is happening here? Everyone going wide. But that will be Julian Casius up to P6. Oh, what is happening back there? I think that was an unsafe rejoin by Owen Goodrum. That could be a case for the stewards later on. There is so much happening on the track at the moment. It is incredible. Neil Killen in a very interesting battle with Harold van Heerde, and they are both off track. Now what a rejoin. Owen running into the back of Owen Goodrum. What is happening right now? Right in front of him, Sander Dragier. Oh, what is happening here? I'm just barefoot at this. So Sander Dragier fighting with Joao Gabriel for P14. They are alongside, but Sander Dragier has the slipstream from Owen Goodrum. But Joao Gabriel has the inside and will go down the inside of Owen Goodrum as well. But Joao Gabriel falls back to P15. And now what? How is there so much racing action? Sebastian Ferreira, Simon Zaug and Neil Killen in a battle for P16. Now Simon Zaug will try to go around the outside and he will run into the back of Sebastian Ferreira. Sebastian Ferreira has spun around, and what is he doing now? Driving across the track. That could have gone very, very badly. But luckily everyone alive still. Janis Kunček in a battle with Daniel Thomas for P2. And Peter Sigter is running for his life. They'll get away. Only 2.5 minutes left of racing here. This is incredible racing. My God. It is. I don't know what to say. Now, if you look a bit further back, Owen Goodrum. Sander Dragier fighting for P13. Owen Goodrum gets a better run out of the corner, and Sander Dragier does have some frontal damage. And we are now looking at some weaving down the start-finish straight. Now, where will Sander Dragier place his car to get past? On the outside. And he has now gotten past, but Owen Goodrum does have the inside, and Sander Dragier will go very, very wide. Maybe a switchback. No, it is not enough room to get a switchback. And so he will have to stay behind for the next corner as well. Oh, no, Bartosz Klusiewicz off the track, staying behind there, and there was someone else. That could have been Martin Sietsma, also off the track. Oh, that is... It is crazy what is happening right now. Bartosz Klusiewicz has now rejoined right behind Kerry Corcoran in that mildly American livery. And now they're going side by side down towards the sharp right-hander. Bartosz Klusiewicz to the outside, but it is a very hard right-hander, so I don't think he'll have any luck with that. Oh, maybe he will. He will have this inside for the second turn, but he will have to leave Kerry Corcoran the appropriate space. And then there's Harold van Heerde, who's also looking for a place to get past. But Bartosz Klusiewicz past Kerry Corcoran now into P16, but going very wide there on turn, and Kerry Corcoran is right back Now Kerry Corcoran down the inside. Bartosz Klojevic will have to take a very wide line, but he will be able to keep P15. And now we'll look up front. Julian Casillas against Christopher Smith for P4. This will be a very interesting battle. Now, do keep in mind, it is a reverse 8 grid order for the third and final heat race of this evening. And these guys are fighting one for championship points, but also the guy in front will have the worst starting position in the third and final heat race. I think we will have to look down the order again as Harold van Herde has gotten past Kerry Corcoran, but I think we'll now look at Peter Sikta and Janis Kunčík as they round the last couple of corners. And Peter Sikta is looking very well to finishing P1 in the second heat race of this evening. We are being blessed with incredible racing here. It is just unbelievable. What can I say? Congratulations to Peter Sikta, who has won the second heat race of the evening, and of course Janis Kunčík. Also congratulations for putting up such a good fight. Janis Kunčík, if I remember correctly, I thought he was in the amateurs category, but I know he seems to be a new driver. So we'll see. Everyone has finished. You can see the results on the on the left hand side there. And now there is a little warm up, so we will be doing a quick ad break again, and this time we'll be back in time for the green flag. Trust me on this. And now here we are back at Fuji. Now no one's using the warm-up at the moment. Everyone is just staying in their pit box and is waiting for the final heat race of the evening to start. I am really excited for this last race. It will be the longest, and I think towards the end it will die down a bit, which will be very good for my voice for one, but I think we'll have the most interesting race here at the end. I have not broadcast this league for long, but I think in these super heats, as they're called here, there is often the best racing at the end. Now, if you want to have such incredible battles on your own, I encourage you to join the league either through iRacing's league feature. Just go to search for GRL and you should be able to find it. Or the easier version, just join the Discord with the link down below in the description of the stream. And yeah. So, warm-up has finished. And we are now into the last race of the evening. Simon Gümer will be starting from P1. And then is Blomart from second. Then John Bailiff, Christopher Smith, Julian Garcias, Daniel Thomas, Janis Kunčík and Peter Sigter, who has won the last race. And if the last season is anything to go by, I think Simon Gümer will know what to do with that pole position, but we'll see how well he can handle it in the rain. Now, in the last season, I think it was the second to last race, was the first race I broadcasted for this league. Oh, it is a 20 lap race. That can't be right. Oh, but it is lights out. And Simon Gümer. Oh, it is a 20-minute race. Simon Gümer out in front, Dennis Blomart right beside him. And he will be taking the long way. Simon Gümer now, Dennis Blomart side by side. But Simon Gümer will have the inside for the next corner, so he will probably be able to keep P1. No, he won't. Dennis Blomart is past the amateur driver, now into the lead of the race. And Simon Gümer will go right into the side of him and go very, very wide. And that will lose him a lot of position, so my prediction weren't correct at all. He's down to P8 already. But Dennis Blomart now faced with a very hungry bunch of drivers. Julian Garcias leading them at the moment. Right behind him, Christopher Smith. I was confused because of delivery. Oh, that was Simon Gümer spinning out. No, that is very unfortunate. You don't want to see that. Was so much hope for that guy in this race. Very sad to see it all go to waste. John Bailiff under attack from Janis Kunčík. Down the inside goes Janis Kunčík, but John Bailiff will have the inside for the next corner. And now onto the start-finish straight. Lap 1 has already finished, and Dennis Blomart is on the lead. Oh my god. John Bailiff and Christopher Smith, I think it was, almost killing each other there, but Julian Garcias and it must have been Owen Goodrum maybe? I can't remember right now. But Julian Garcias will definitely be happy about that. Now who we are looking at right here. Peter Sigter against Joshua Wills. Peter Sigter down the inside, and they're alongside, but Joshua Wills is through. Now Owen Goodrum will go down the inside of Peter Sigter. Now Peter Sigter almost down, back to 8th position. Oh, someone going off track there. Still too wide. Owen Goodrum and Peter Sigter. Owen Goodrum round the outside. Will he be able to make it stick? And he will be able to close the gap. Peter Sigter now hit on the front by Owen Goodrum. That will be a case for the stewards. That will not end happy, I think. So now we have these three guys here fighting, but I think a more interesting battle is happening at the front. Julian Garcias has gotten past Dennis Blomart. And what is happening to Dennis Blomart, as Daniel Thomas has also gotten past. And it's now up to P2. Christopher Smith alongside Dennis Blomert, but Dennis Blomert will may be able to defend at least this position. No, he won't. It seems now Christopher Smith try to fight against Daniel Thomas, but there's no chance. But now Dennis Blomert right back alongside Christopher Smith and John Bailiff, and who else? Joshua Wills, Owen Goodlum, just every driver in there, and we will probably be seeing some free wide action once we get down to turn 1. What is happening right now? Okay, so Joshua Wills on the outside, John Bailiff in the middle, and on the outside we have that should be Christopher Smith. Yes, it is. Oh, what is happening? Oh no! Christopher Smith out now. Tom Carter, and there is a hit. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, everything's going downhill at the moment, and Dennis Blomert fighting for 4th at the moment. Under attack from Joshua Wills. Now, some of these guys really are aliens. We have seen it in the practice session, especially with Joshua Wills. But now, Dennis Blomert into 5th position. But that should still make him one of the first amateur rated drivers in this race. Now, oh, what is... No! Oh, Tom Carter in the middle of the track, and and those were 2 drivers that had an issue. Now, let's look at what happened. Tom Carter, to the outside, that is Sebastian Ferreira. And, that is just... And Harold van Herden also going down the inside. And there must be Eugene Schmidt probably. That is not nice to watch. That is not nice to watch. Oh, who is that on the outside? That is Neil Killen, who seems to have gotten some damage, maybe from the thing with... Oh, Simon Zaug right alongside Martin Sietsma. Martin Sietsma going wide. Simon Zaug goes through to take back 8th place. And everyone going wide through turn 1. Oh my god, we are having some incredible racing here again. Also some very chaotic racing, of course, but we won't talk about that. Martin Sietsma. The more chaotic side of this race will be for the stewards to handle. Simon Zock against Martin Sietsma. He can now build a gap. He is now safe, but who is not safe? It's Kerry Corcoran, because Simon Gümer is on the outside and he's not left any room at all. And will now rejoin in front of Kerry Corcoran, but he will probably have a slowdown of some sorts. That will be again a case for the stewards. It is incredible how chaotic this race has gotten. Now, it must have really gotten into these drivers' heads that this is the last race, the last chance to get some points on this weekend. And they're still alongside Kerry Corcoran, Simon Gümer. Simon Gümer now on front, but Kerry Corcoran diving down the inside. Will it be a switchback for Simon Gümer? No. He is forced behind. Kerry Corcoran will now try to go around the outside. Very wide line there. Maybe just trying to get the most speed possible out on the start-finish straight. He will now be closing that gap 2.5 tenths. 2 tenths. The gap is closing more and more, but I don't think it's enough to get alongside. 1.5 tenths. And into the braking zone. Simon Gümer not able to get alongside. Kerry Corcoran will park the car on the apex to defend as best as he can against Simon Gümer. Simon Gümer now looking for some place to overtake, but he's not having any luck right now. To the outside he goes, and he is now alongside Kerry Corcoran, and it has worked. Around the outside of Kerry Corcoran goes Simon Gümer up into P13. Incredible stuff, incredible. And now Neil Killen, a bit of further up the order, is fighting against Peter Sigda. Now these two, I think it should be clear that Peter Sigda has the advantage in this battle. I don't even know how he's fallen down this far. Neil Killen in the amateurs category, I think. So will he even have any chance at all? Sander Traché against Bartosz Klosiewicz. Oh, and it is on to the start-finish straight. Will we see a dive bomb by Sander Traché? I think he is classified in the Pro Championship. So this could be some very valuable points for him. But Daniel Thomas, I think the current leader, is on P2. So the lead won't be snatched away from him in the foreseeable future. Daniel Thomas now getting really close to Julian Carcias, the amateur rated driver. It's a very exciting battle going on. Julian Carcias trying as best as possible to defend against Daniel Thomas and Joshua Wills, two incredibly fast drivers. And that will be Daniel Thomas, who will be trying to go down the inside of Julian Carcias, but there's no room for him. He's stuck behind Julian Carcias. And Julian Carcias just parking any room to get past. This is some masterclass defending right here. Oh, but not for long. Daniel Thomas to the inside. Oh, but that is a wonderful line from Julian Carcias. And he's forcing Daniel Thomas to the wide outside line. And Joshua Wills now down the inside of Daniel Thomas. And Joshua Wills into P2. They're now side by side, going down towards the first corner. But now Julian Carcias also under attack. He's going defensive. And I think that will may be a free wide entry into turn 1. A really beautiful formation flight, and Joshua Wills will take P1. Afterwards it will be Julian Carcias and in third Daniel Thomas. So he has lost one position from that. Julian Carcias not leaving Daniel Thomas the least of even a bit of room. Just squeezing him onto the outside there. And some very hard racing, but Julian Carcias will have to play a bit dirty to keep that beast of a driver behind him. Now he has given himself a bit of a gap, and he will have to cling to Joshua Wills to get himself some time to not have Daniel Thomas abuse that slipstream he has, to close the gap. Oh, what an incredible battle we are witnessing right here. Now Julian Carcias onto the inside of Joshua Wills. Not really. There's no room there for him. Now it's onto the start finish line again with those three. We'll look back at Bartosz Klosiewicz. It's Martin Sietsma and Sander Traché. Sander Traché off the track, and Bartosz Klosiewicz and Martin Sietsma both pass, and now they're side by side into the first corner. Now Peter Sigda has gotten past us in Sander Tragier. But this is the interesting battle. Bartosz Kluziewicz against Martin Sietsma. And they're going down towards turn 1. Bartosz Kluziewicz has the inside. This turn 1 is really a prime overtaking opportunity on this track. And Bartosz Kluziewicz is through. Now what is happening with Dennis Blumert and Owen Goodrum? It would be a shame if Owen Goodrum wasn't born an alcohol enjoyer. But what has happened to Daniel Thomas? He was looking a bit off the track there, and he has lost a lot of time to Julian Garcias. Oh, Peter Sikta onto the inside of Bartosz Kluziewicz. He may be going wide. No, he will not. What a wonderful overtake. And Bartosz Kluziewicz has fallen back to P7. Peter Sikta up to P6. What an incredible performance by the driver with the number 18. This weekend has given us so much action. But now it seems to have finally calmed down a bit. Only 2 battles really going on at the moment, and one of them is here. One of them is between these 4 drivers: Martin Sietsma, Bartosz Kluziewicz, Peter Sikta, and Martin Sietsma. No, I already said that. Sander Trachier is the 4th driver. And there's someone blinking behind. That will be Simon Zaug. That could be dangerous for the other drivers. We'll have to wait and see how this affects the race. Now only 5 minutes left. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I said that often these longer races, most racing dies down at the 15-minute mark. And we still have some very interesting things going on right here. Or maybe we'll just have to look down the order a bit. Let's see if there's anything interesting happening down here. Oh well, doesn't seem like it at the moment, so we'll go back up to Dennis Blumert, who is fighting against Owen Goodrum. These 2 beasts fighting against each other. And will be Dennis Blumert. We'll be trying to search for a gap, and Martin Sietsma has crashed. We will be looking at the incident. What has happened? Oh, he has just spun. Still very unfortunate, but not as drastic as a crash. So we are back with Dennis Blumert, who is trying his best to get past Owen Goodrum. Now only 3 minutes remaining to close that gap and get past. Now last lap, Dennis Blumert about 1/10 slower than the other Porsche Cup car. Owen Goodrum will be going very wide here, and that will give Dennis Blumert the opportunity. Or it will not. It will somehow gain Owen Goodrum half a second. Now there's a giant gap between these 2 drivers. Incredible racing we're watching right here, but the gap has died right down 2.5 tenths only between the drivers. Oh, Dennis Blumert has gone very, very wide. I think that will be the end of that battle. But now Daniel Thomas chasing down Julian Garcias. Now the amateur driver has held that P2 beautifully. Well, I think it was an amateur driver. I will have to take a look again. Yes, he is. He's currently 2nd in the championship, and after this weekend, maybe even the 1st. But there is still one challenge to overcome. Daniel Thomas, who is trying to better his position in the championship right now. as Joshua Wills is in contention for that first position in the championship, and that one position could have a massive impact on the championship. And I think we're going into the last lap of the race. Daniel Thomas about 4/10 faster than Julian Garcias. And there's about 4/10 between them. So what will happen this lap? I think Julian Garcias just needs to stay comfortable there and not make any huge mistakes. And then I think we could see Julian Garcias getting second place in this competition. Now Joshua Wills has had a very comfortable lead on Julian Garcias, but not anymore. Daniel Thomas going a bit wide there, and that is a lot of time lost to Julian Garcias. So we'll be going back to Owen Goodrum and Dennis Blomart, who are fighting very hard for P4. Now Owen Goodrum has gotten past again Dennis Blomart. This is the last chance for Dennis Blomart to get P4. And to the round the outside goes Dennis Blomart. Oh, he's searching for that gap, and now they're alongside again. A little touch there. Now Owen Goodrum. I'm still trying to defend from Dennis Blomart, and he won't have to defend for long. But we will be going to the fight for P2, as now Joshua Wills, the American driver, will win the third and final heat of this evening, followed by probably Julian Garcias. That is looking very close, and it is Julian Garcias who will be taking on second place in this competition. Daniel Thomas third, Daniel Goodrum fourth, Dennis Blomart fifth, Bartosz Kruziewicz coming in at seventh, and there's still a fight going on. Christopher Smith against Sebastian Ferreira. Oh, but he will be staying behind. It will be P13 for Christopher Smith. What a race! And I don't think so. I do have a bit of I can't find the words. I do have a bit of I'm a bit sorry for the stewards. I have to go through this entire race and judge who was at fault where. But it seems that everyone has finished. Gabriel into the start-finish rate to finish as the last driver still out on track. And that will be it, ladies and gentlemen. What an incredible race. I don't know what to say. Incredible, just incredible. Thank you so much for GRL for putting this event on and for having me broadcast this event. If you want to join the league, like I said, link in the description for the Discord server, or just search up GRL in the iRacing League browser. That will be it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see